Hello, everyone, and welcome to Patriot Crusader Missions Christian Warrior Talk, the Christian fellowship show where we invest in one another, come together, lock shields around one another, learn from our mistakes and our setbacks, and celebrate our victories. Um, we, man, life is funny. Yesterday I was on cloud nine. Um, Great, not like the best Valentine's Day, whatever, but it was a great family day. And what a difference 24 hours can make, man. You can go from the top of Mount Everest and feeling awesome, being 100% in God, borderline glowing. And then the next day, a raging maniac where you're just struggling. Started right at, hey, Danielle, good to see you. It, no, come on in. I wasn't expecting the missus. I gave her the night off if she wanted it. So let me adjust the camera. Well, we're a live show, and that just proves it. Um, so as I was saying, what a difference 24 hours can make. My Crucible 90-day challenge is going well. Not perfect, but well. I've been in my Bible, and I would say that I've been feeling pretty darn epic with that. Feel like my teachings have been hitting pretty hard, and I've been working out. Is it perfect? No. Is it as much as I want to do? No. But am I getting something done most days? Yes. I'm sure a lot of you are probably feeling the same. But the main thing is sorry about blowing you guys' zeros out there. Hopefully you guys still have eardrums. So that's good. My knee had been nagging, and finally the VA listened to me and gave me another 10-day prednisone taper, which by tomorrow should have my knee knocked out. It takes like 2 days for that stuff to kick in for me. But it's been tough. I've been really down today. I've been back to drinking the poison on TV, and that's definitely had an effect on me. But one of my heartbreaks for East Palestine, these people who, many of them are poor.
Seems like a very small town.
It's a town of 5,000 people. These are people like us, right? And no amount of prepping can help you when something like that happens. And we got a rail that runs through here. We can hear the train. It's probably a couple miles away. Holy smokes, man. And we were freaking out that East Palestine's water and that smoke plume might be coming down here when they were looking at the watershed. And luckily for us, and unlucky for most, the Ohio River cuts around Tennessee.
Yeah, but I was in more processing. Water from Tennessee feeds into the Ohio, but not vice versa. Yeah. So, but yeah, because we were colored in on the map of kind of areas
be concerned
impacted.
About.
So, yeah, there was definitely a period of much greater concern, and I mean, who knows what the air fallout like? I mean, it seems like we're still in somewhat proximity for
Yeah, I know. Who knows the way?
Indirect
I wasn't
rankings,
watching the weather on the day they detonated it.
which no one knew to because they didn't talk
Right.
about it.
So we don't know which way the airflow was. I mean, sure, you can go back, and I'm sure there's tracking in some
Yeah.
places that you can do that.
I think the acute stuff would already have presented itself as far as respiratory and things like that.
But I just can't even imagine getting seeing that go up, grabbing, putting you and the kids in the car and the dogs
Mm-hmm.
and driving,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that our entire farm was probably going to die.
Yeah.
And that our property is worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's
And they're not going to be
want
able to
that?
sell
Yeah.
anything of that for the next 20 years. Hey, Jimmy, it recognizes you today, so you don't have to type Jimmy Pierce, but thank you.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, miss you, my friend. And
Yeah, the recommendations of move. It's like, okay, but those people are going to be trapped there because if they need money from their house to move, who's going to
They
be?
can't
No
move.
one's going to buy that.
They can't move.
Yeah.
That is a 20-year minimum loss.
Yeah, horrible.
And the company's going to go bankrupt. No one's going to get nearly the money they should. The administration has been appalling. The liberal media has been appalling.
Yeah.
Thank God for Tucker Carlson, who's covered it every night. He's covered it every night. And thank God for him because no one else really is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what Pittsburgh's doing because this was right outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, for that to be a major area, I don't know. I haven't seen anything other than stuff about the immediate and then the water.
I mean, what are the
water
cancer
impacts.
effects? What are, the health effects of everyone around there? What about cattle, horses, but, people?
Yeah,
If
well,
it's killing fish and chickens.
I saw research of the stuff that you buy at the grocery store, like what is produced in Ohio or in areas that would be impacted as far as kind of what food might be growing in soil there that you'd be buying and livestock raised on the land from there. So it's like, I don't know what would be raised in Ohio that would be kind of general consumption, but
Now,
I'm sure there's some stuff.
again, I'm not a meteorologist, but my understanding is it flows west to east. The stream does most ways. So, it's just so heartbreaking because, seeing people, small farmers, people are going to be completely decimated. And the liberal media doesn't want to cover this because it makes Pete Buttigieg look terrible. I mean, he's literally the worst transportation secretary in history.
Yeah.
Like, he's got zero qualifications for that. They hired him because he's a gay guy and they needed a job. So they put him in that because how could you screw that up? Like, that isn't an important job.
Yeah.
Our whole entire supply chain, everything's on it. Our air has been nothing but a disaster. Our train is a disaster. Our highway is a disaster. Like,
yeah, I was just starting to watch Tucker's piece on the aviation bit about the downgrading of qualifications now required for pilots and just that there's been an immediate uptick in near miss, mega disasters.
Yeah, because what I want is equity
Right.
with my pilot when my kids are on the plane.
Just another reason not to fly.
Just another reason not to trust them with anything. I want the best surgeon operating on my heart and my brain. I want the best pilot in the plane that I'm in with my family.
Mm-hmm.
My post-millennial optimism has taken a serious hit since I started drinking the poison again.
Uh-oh. What does that do?
Well, it's just, it may be true, but I don't know if America survives and it can survive Democrat stupidity. I don't know if it can survive low information voters. I don't know if it can survive the selfishness of the left, self-obsession.
Well, maybe on the backswing of it.
I don't know.
Finally,
and then
people realize.
You got Republican candidates character assassinating other Republican candidates again. Breaks my freaking heart that you can't debate policy You got to get petty and fight fights you shouldn't be fighting. Like, of all the things for Trump to try to say that Ron DeSantis is a groomer of high school girls in a picture that he put out on True Story. This is the guy who's on air bragging about grabbing girls' vaginas and getting away with it. This is the guy who's been to Epstein Island, right?
I didn't hear this accusation.
Yeah, there's a picture of him that you can't even tell if it's doctored. You can't see anything about it. It's him toasting, like him with a bunch of pretty girls toasting in like a bar pick or whatever. Like he's 24, right? And that was like all the Trump goons came out with that. That was their thing. And I love Trump. I went to DC for Trump. I would have went to war for Trump. And he's turning me off, man.
Well, I don't think it's a surprise that he's a sore loser. And I think the writing was kind of on the wall as far as how he would play if things didn't seem like they were going his way.
Yeah, I mean, I know everyone said he did this to Ted Cruz too, right? I mean, I did not like Ted Cruz. I tried to like Ted Cruz. I couldn't stand him. He went after his wife. He went after his dad. And that's where the whole Never Trumper win came from. And I just, you know, I found Ted Cruz to be a coward. And I found him to be the most like Hillary Clinton in a man suit. He's not likable. You know what I'm saying?
No,
He's not likable.
Other than he did the Babylon Bee sketch with
I didn't see that. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You know, now he's done some major corrections, you know, to try to do that, to try to fix his image. But, you know, I would have loved to seen him as a Supreme Court justice where I don't have to like him, but I would have trusted him to render the right decision protected by not having to run again.
Yeah.
But watching what Trump's doing to DeSantis has just turned me off to the point of, I mean, will I vote for him? Yes. Will I campaign for him if he's the candidate? Yes. Do I think he can win? No. If I feel this way, somebody who would have died for him, would have literally died for him. And I feel like he's just so selfish right now.
Yeah.
I feel like he's talking about loyalty. My loyalty isn't to him, it's to America. Where's America first in this? And it bums me out, man, because, I mean, I wept the day Donald Trump won president. You were there.
I remember. Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that America, you know, came back from the brink.
That seems so long ago.
It does.
So long ago.
Now I just think the only hope we have is DeSantis. Without him, I don't think we have any hope politically. Now, of course, Jesus can do anything he wants.
Well, yeah.
But the only way for us to right this ship, in my opinion, is him. He doesn't have the baggage. He's got the policy. He doesn't shoot himself in the foot. He doesn't say stupid stuff, and he doesn't have 60 years.
Oh, yeah, I saw that she just formally announced.
I'm not a fan of Nikki Haley in the slightest. You know, she wouldn't even be in my top 5. I like Kristi Noem over her.
Yes, from what I know about the two, yeah. Would you go with Trump over her?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Trump is my number 2 right now. Trump is my number 2, even though I think he's a guaranteed loss, because I don't think anyone comes close to DeSantis. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have a super strong debate performance. Like what I was hoping, what I wanted for him was for him to take all the flack, all the heat, all the stuff, and then to have DeSantis, you know, outshow him in the debates and in the campaign, and for him to bow out and be the kingmaker, throw his support behind him, right, and be gracious, and then, you know, work from behind the scenes, brokering deals. Barack Obama is more powerful now than he, because Joe Biden's a puppet. It's basically Obama's presidency again. That's who's doing all this with zero accountability.
Yeah, except I don't think that other candidates like DeSantis wouldn't allow Trump to do that in the way.
No,
that
but there is a
Biden-
place for Trump. Trump would be great as a speaker. I think he could go on there. He can negotiate deals because he was not an ideologue. But the problem is this has become so personal. He has to run just to protect his family. He has to run and then negotiate a bowing out at some point so they leave him and his family alone, or else they'll all be in jail. Wrongly so, in my opinion.
Right.
I think he got the worst deal ever. I think he got the most unjust treatment of any president. I think he's one of our best presidents we've ever had. I think he could have been even 10 times better if they had let him.
Oh yeah.
If he had a honeymoon period like every other president.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't think the deep state will let him win.
I don't think so either.
And it's a conflict of interest if he wins, because if he investigates the FBI, it looks like payback. If he goes after all these people, it looks like payback. If DeSantis wins, he can appoint Trey Gowdy to go after whoever, Rand Paul to go after Fauci, right? I mean, I would love to see.
Be interesting to watch.
I would love to see Rand Paul appointed to go after that. I mean, he would shred that. We get to the bottom of COVID in no time.
Yeah.
And let Trey Gowdy go after Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family. He's got no dog in that fight.
Is that something that Trey Gowdy? So he could be pulled because he's not really in politics anymore. So he could be pulled in for that. Okay.
Yeah. He's got enough integrity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just two people off the top of my head that I'm talking about, you know? And I've seen a lot of people talking about the Hawaii girl with the white hair.
Gabby Tulsi.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Gabby Tulsi.
Tulsi Gabbard. I'm the one with dyslexia.
Blah, 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 blah.
You just pulled a Jason.
Yeah. Good.
You know, and I like Tulsi Gabbard as a person, but she's a Democrat. Her social policies. I mean, she's the old liberal with limiting power and anti-war, which used to be the Democrats, but now it's the opposite.
Yeah, no, that's a liberal. That's a liberal.
That's
Republican.
The part that's America first. Is not the Republican. Republicans are the war party too, right? So now it's become America first. Only fight when it's in our interest, like really, really in our interest, not to keep these perpetual wars. And I disagree with some good friends of mine. You know, I've been watching Chad Robichaud go out there talking about Afghanistan and talking about this and all that. And he's very emotionally invested. And so is all these other, you know, superstar guys that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, because they've been on the ground. So they've seen the human.
They've seen the human cost
impact.
Of war, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I agree with them is Bagram Air Force Base, we should have never given that up because of the strategic location for us to push into China, Russia, anywhere, as well as the minerals there. You know, but I am, you know, their thought is, you know, how far do we have to be away from something to intervene? And my thought is right now there's too many Americans suffering in America. Like I don't think we should do a single military operation in the world until we secure our border. You see, Tucker did a special the other day and I posted it, and you see all the infrastructure attacks on our electric grid, on our water systems, on our food stations, on our rail systems. We've had an open border. You're telling me they couldn't get unlimited amount of troops here, train them up, and turn them loose on our infrastructure to completely collapse us from within?
Oh yeah.
You know, and again, I prioritize American lives over everyone else. If somebody else wants to go do that, great. But you're not sending my son over there. That's not his cause.
Right.
You know, you're not sending my kid over there. If Chad and these other guys want to go do it, good on them. I'd rather see us in the streets of Detroit. I'd rather see us in Chicago. I'd rather see us, you know, in all these towns and along the border. I'd rather see us in New Orleans, the war zone. I'd rather see us fixing all that than going and saving a bunch of people who hate us anyways.
Yeah, I think would you say that unless by not being involved, ultimately we become more vulnerable because something bigger would happen if we did not get involved? Whereas I think the reality is that something bigger will happen if we do get involved.
They could train in China right now. We never know. Right? They could train in Russia. We never know. They can train with, like, Afghanistan isn't the only place to do business. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's bad people all over the world. I think we should keep bases when we take land. We should keep bases there, right? We still got bases in Japan.
Right.
We got bases in Germany, right? That's because it's strategic location. And we should keep those. But it's just so disheartening. It's fighting and trying to plan and counter.
Hi, Louie.
Everything. Hey, Louie, good to see you. Long time no see. Where you been, man? It's hard to counter this and have faith and optimism when you feel like you're fighting with two hands tied behind your back, on your knees, hogtied. And we got kids. We got a 14-month-old. We got a 3 going on a 4-year-old. It's time to start rounding up with that because
she's going to have to learn what else to
she's
say.
no longer 3.5.
Yeah.
Almost 4. And a new baby on the way. Yeah, man, I don't want to poo-poo on your business, Louis, but only the top
rough industry to get into.
The top 10% of mortgage companies and the top 10% realtors are going to survive. Everyone else is going to starve at these rates. And if you're that top 10, then you're going to be able to weather it. If you're not, I don't know how you're going to. But I'll be praying for you, brother.
Yeah, certainly scary to have littles that are entirely dependent still, not useful. That if anything were to happen, just kind of knowing that's a big burden.
I didn't want to get on tonight. I did not want to get on tonight because I didn't have a positive message tonight, other than lean into Jesus in times like these. But the strategist in me, I'm trying to see a win in this. And I just don't know anyone reasonable on the left. Like I haven't talked to somebody who voted that way that is willing to make an agreement that the concession that they made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
People are still wearing masks. With all the freaking stuff that we've seen, with all the studies, they have shown that they do nothing. They did nothing. And people are still virtue signal wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
The VA, I still have to wear one anytime you go in the door.
Yeah, the medical systems, I don't think have changed at all. Hospitals in general.
Now you can make a legal case that, hey, it cuts down on flu. It cuts down all the other stuff.
For other reasons.
Yeah, for other reasons. But don't you dare say it's for the freaking 19.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make it a rule that you go into a hospital now and you got to wear a mask, fine. I am good with that because, you got very vulnerable people with immune compromise. It's more common sense than the rest of it. And if somebody wants to, it's fine, but it's ridiculous. You see people driving in their car alone with masks on. Mm-hmm. You got the Grammys. I got pastors and cops that still watch pro sports. Like I put on a post today on Twitter, and I thought I was going to get burnt alive on it, but no one follows me on Twitter, so it doesn't matter. But I said, if you're still following a pastor who still watches pro sports, you need to find another pastor. That's how strongly I feel about that. And I have friends that are pastors that still do that. Mm-hmm. And I think they're cowards, and I think they are putting their entertainment above the call of God. We're willing to point fingers at everyone and tell them what to give up, but you can't give up your freaking entertainment. You can't give up pro sports that had a black national anthem that is purposely designed to divide us. National. National means the nation. You only have one national anthem.
Did you get any feedback on it?
I got one like so far.
One like. Okay.
And Riderman 007, welcome to the show. Sorry we didn't do the strength and honors. We can get you caught up. I am drinking sparkling water tonight, and from a little low, and I've been trying to hydrate from the gym. So typically we do this.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But today's a serious show, and I don't mean to be dour, and I don't mean to be down.
Jerry says, it blows my mind when they're walking outside with no one around and wearing a mask. I have relatives with little kids in California who, like, their kids are by themselves on the playground with masks. It's just, I'm just thinking of the psychological damage being done to those two kids, and it breaks my heart every time.
It's its own religion.
Yeah.
It's become its own religion. Being a Democrat is your own religion. You're not a Christian. Don't you dare call yourself a Christian if you vote Democrat. Period. You can't support the mutilation of children. You can't support LGBTQ plus agenda. You can't support abortion and call yourself a Christian. I'm sorry. You are what is called in denial. You are a hypocrite. The biblical context of hypocrite was somebody who was deliberately fooled themselves into thinking they were saved when they weren't, or was running contrary 100%. So blind to themselves, right? Willingly blind, or someone who just was lying.
Well, look who's here.
Paul Race, holy smokes. Good to see you, brother. I miss you, my friend. I wish you were here to have a beer around the fire with me, man. I could use it tonight.
I would say that definition of hypocrite is entirely accurate.
I mean, so here you go. You got a bunch of pastors. We'll just say pastors and cops, right? Because everyone loves firefighters. Everyone loves the cat rescuers. You have the league that hates cops, that has Jay-Z on the board, that has pushed all this anti-cop stuff, who started them, who supported Colin Kaepernick with his pig socks, who perpetrated the lie of hands up, don't shoot, which did not happen in the case of Michael Brown, who has caused indirectly the assassination of cops and the divisiveness in this nation, who continues to fuel the racial divide in this nation. You got pastors doing that because they like watching a sport, watching that. And you got cops shooting themselves in the foot doing it because they're so freaking stupid and lost. Don't even get me started on the NBA. Owned by China. Having their agents, AKA players, sow hatred and discontent over here so they can buy, but don't you dare say anything about China and their forced organ harvesting and their slave labor.
Yeah, well, and back to NFL, and you saw the little video clip. Charlie Kirk shared it out today of what's his name? Darren, who's the guy who just had the heart failure on the field.
Oh yeah. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. The guy who'd had the Buffalo player had the heart attack.
Yeah.
From the jab.
Yeah, and he was being interviewed
by Michael Strahan on Good Morning America.
Yeah, so what did the doctors tell you about why this happened to you? You're young, you're in great shape, yada yada yada. And he had like the longest pause, and then he says, and then he's like, I don't want to get into that. So clearly the doctors
the doctors had told him what it was, and he didn't want to touch it on national television
because of how
the politics.
Yeah,
because of how owned he is. It's very rare here in Tennessee. You go and you see it more in Virginia. It's very, very rare here, and who the crazies are. Basically, what it is. It comes down to who the crazies are. Right?
Yeah, like you don't see them in the grocery store hardly. Like.
Man, the camera's totally out of focus and like blurry. It's focusing.
Probably got screwed up by shifting when I came in. Yeah. The cross looks really nice right there.
Yeah,
the shield
super.
It's like
I'm gonna go over there and point out.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like 1% of people, I would say, that you see in like grocery stores now with masks on and stuff. Yeah. So, more so when you go closer to the college or anything kind of where the medical community would be frequenting. But that's pretty much it.
Where are you going to find
really
liberals?
Not.
That's much better.
It's not a day to day. I say that, but then it's like I don't even leave, so I wouldn't know anyways.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the most out and about people. We stay on the
Like you
compound.
don't see them when you go out to restaurants and stuff. Like no one's walking in wearing them.
The only time I run into it is grocery stores or big box stores where you run into, the
A
libs.
more mixed crowd.
Yeah, and that's typically in Johnson City and not in Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very, very rare here. But the fact that it still exists at all just tells you. Wow, Jimmy. Where are you seeing that? Because you're in the fire department, right? So I guess you're dealing with super crazies.
Yeah, so Jimmy is local also, but he's much more out in the community than we are. So I guess this is just that we go to places that are more
Conservative?
like-minded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did have a ton of people move in, more of them conservative than not. Tennessee shifted.
I was surprised when we first moved down here how many people that I did see wearing them. But
well, that's
it
because of
definitely
it's definitely the university.
Yeah, but even at like this local food city here, which I would have said was, but it's much better now. But yeah, it is definitely sad that people are still in that mindset. But maybe they just don't want to get the flu.
Louis, no, he's over on Facebook. Sorry. You guys are not seeing it. Lauren's not sharing the comments. So Jimmy's right there. He's in Facebook. So I'll show you guys because I know we've got YouTubers and Facebookers and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just been a really rough time. As far as my diet's been going, I've been feeling great about it. My workout's been going great. Not great, going solid. I'm getting my mobility back. The prednisone 10-day taper is definitely going to help, but I'm going to bloat because of that. I can already see my face holding water. And I'm also taking creatine and all that stuff to help try to recover. But yeah, it was a tough day, especially after having a cloud 9 yesterday.
Yeah.
God protected us again. Our freaking grill almost blew up and killed Lauren. Caught on fire. If I didn't come around the corner when I did, she could have come out 5 minutes later and boom. Just have to start paying attention to detail and taking care of stuff because we're so busy. We're pulled in so many directions. I feel like we're hanging on by our fingernails in 100 different directions. One crosswind and we're gone.
God definitely has his hand on this farm. He has proven that over and over again, but we don't want to test him.
I came around the corner and I had 3 foot of flame coming out the top of the freaking grill. Right, it was already burning on the bottom. I could imagine that heating up and getting to the propane and boom. So just made me do a hard check and realize how many places I'm failing. We're keeping this running. We're keeping the bills paid and the lights on barely right now. And, who's going to want to come to a church where it's all run down, fence is crooked, our new lights that we put out, they're over and smashed and everything. I mean, it's just been rough, guys. Working out in the garage, all you see is all the imperfections when you're out there in between sets. You look out there and you're like, wow, there's 30 things I need to do minimum. So yeah, I almost didn't come on today, and then I felt like a quitter by not coming on and owning up. Things not being all unicorns and rainbows.
Well, do you want to talk about your day yesterday? That was so great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got no reason to complain today. I mean, the heart of gratitude. I'm not doing the woe is me's. I'm just afraid for America. I'm afraid for my family. Yeah, I know if we all go up in a puff of smoke tomorrow, we're all in. Our whole family will be in eternity together. But that doesn't mean I don't want them to have full, amazing lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to think about that being cut short. Louis, this 1 hour now on Wednesday nights is not the make or break on kind of catching up on everything else.
So Ritterman 007 over on Facebook, are they saying that the initial reports, worst case scenario, barely stretched past us? I don't think so. Our water flows into the Ohio River. It doesn't go the other way. So unless the clouds here. Daniel Smith, thank you. We're trying to be a solution. We're not a conventional church.
Mm-hmm.
This Saturday, we're going to have guys here. We're Lauren and the women are castrating 3 boy pigs, and we are building a meat processing crane, as well as moving bacon and all that stuff. And, we had a friend of ours have something pretty dark happen to a boy he knows and his friend's son. And it was great to be able to take first responders in the area. I called a couple, and one of them made it. And to go up there at the cross. Yeah, at least you are handy. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, that trampoline has been one of the best things that happened on this.
Our babysitter loves it.
Yeah. Everyone calls it a trampoline. I call it a padded cell.
Yes.
It's great. You can put both of them in there. You know where they're at. They're not going anywhere, and it's hard for them to hurt themselves right now at this age. So I was in the middle of saying something.
You were talking about having prayer warriors come when things matter.
Oh, yeah, having prayer warriors come around and pray for a man's friend, family, marriage. And that's what it's about, particularly, this community we have here. The veteran, the first responder, and the patriot community. But first responders, there's a lot of veterans organizations out there that facilitate to them and support them. And there can never be too much, right? So, of course, we're here for that. First responders, man, they're so underserved and underappreciated.
Yeah.
And they see so much in their hometown. They're not going overseas and seeing strangers killed. They're responding to friends and families' homes that are dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, we want to stand in the gap for them. Our water is all toxic, all of it. Camp Lejeune, Red Hill, Hawaii. Only God knows about all the other bases, chemicals and toxins everywhere. You got that right.
Yeah, we're using our Berkey filter. And I know that there's been some questions, I guess, about the quality of Berkey. And then there's another one that people kind of compare it to. I think it's still much better than not doing anything, especially when you're on city water like we are.
Yeah, I wish we had a well right now, but we can't afford it. Mm-hmm. We'd love to get on our own well and get off Elizabethan chemical water. I mean, we came from Virginia where we had the most beautiful, amazing tasting mountain spring water.
Well, that's like one of the biggest gaps for our livestock because, we don't feed organic for our pigs and our cows. Just cost prohibitive, but the water is probably the biggest source of that they get.
No, I think it's better than pure mud water that they've been getting. Some of the things we've seen around here, but yeah,
all in time.
We got a lot to do, guys, a lot to do. And I'd love to do it all with you. I'd love to help you where I can. If I had to say anything about this show today, it would be the ups and the downs, the peaks and the valleys. And I'm not sick. I'm getting my mobility back. I don't feel handicapped. You guys don't understand. from like January, not even from, what would you say, from November? When did my knees get really bad?
It's been a while.
October, November?
Yeah.
I mean, I was borderline handicapped. I could barely walk to the bathroom. So being able to move again has been huge. The VA here is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You know, my doctor's great, but they're so backed up. And I'm sure that's the way it is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unlike when Trump was in office, if I couldn't get an appointment, I could go out in town. No, wait.
Do you know, is that program or ability still in place
I don't
in
think
certain
so.
areas, or that they just eliminated that?
I'm not sure. No, it's not here in Tennessee.
Yeah, because like I know you were in Charlottesville, you were very happy with it.
In
Be curious if
Charlottesville,
that
it was the best care I ever
I'd
had.
be curious if that was still options.
But you know, it's just been a rough go.
But then you go and you have a picnic at the Jesus Cross with your little girls, and you see what matters. You
Yeah,
see the
and
firelight reflecting off the cross.
this is all unbelief, which is what I'm struggling with right now. You know, it's all unbelief because I'm stressing the unknowns. You know, I'm stressing instead of trusting in the Lord, and I know I'm sinning doing it. But the tactical mind that I have, the way that He made me, is I'm sitting there stacking up odds and mitigating stress and mitigating risk. It's tough.
VA community care is available everywhere based on the VA doctor's availability. So our VA just says that they can serve you, so therefore you don't need to go out and about.
So you're stuck waiting forever to get stuff done. You know, my knees could have been fixed 6 months ago with 2 5-minute
Well, that's
shots.
why we're now paying for private health insurance through Hope Report.
What's that?
So that's why we're now paying for private health
Yeah.
insurance, because what you're getting through the VA is not cutting it.
We got 3 forms of health care. We pay, what is it, Samaritans?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it called?
Samaritan's Ministries.
Yeah, Samaritan's Ministry for our Christian share, my VA care, and then through My Pillow, I have my own insurance. So, I mean, we're paying for 3, well, 2. The VA I paid for in blood, sweat, and tears.
VA healthcare system.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, you know, I was watching a debate between Ben Shapiro and some left from the Young Turks, some woman from the Young Turks. And she was talking about how everyone in Canada loves Canadian care. I don't know a single person in Canada who loves Canadian care. My mom hates it. My father-in-law hates it. My stepfather, hates it. It's a really good place to go die. Their hospice care is the best in the country.
Did she have anything that sounded
On the continent.
legitimate? Or she was just sugarcoating all of it?
She was just saying that they love their care. And it's like, no, they don't. Who the heck are you
Okay, so
talking
an
to?
easy to say statement without backing it
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah. We need a band of brothers around us. We can't walk alone. No, you can't. You can't. You need what we call a war council here. You need people to watch your six, or when you're drifting off. So, you know, when you're going down that highway trying to get to heaven, you don't take the off ramp by accident, which is so easy to do.
yeah, I thought that was really nice. I mean, that yesterday was an example of that for you, about kind of putting a war council to action.
Yeah.
And it responded and I think made a difference.
Well, it just, particularly when you deal with a new Christian,
Yeah.
you want to show them that the community can
That
rally
is
around
there.
them.
Yeah.
So it was really important. So I want to thank Warren for making it.
Yeah.
It's real easy to show up on Sunday and sit there in service for an hour and then 30 minutes of coffee and cake after and call it a day. But marriages have fallen apart when dark things happen. Knowing that within a phone call in minutes, people will be there to pray for you, look in your eye, lock arms and shields around you. It's a big deal.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people even know to expect that, or that that they should expect it. That is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I will, Louie. I will. Here's another word of warning. If you're considering getting solar, don't.
Oh, yeah.
Spent $120,000 on a solar unit here. The company we used got our unit done, didn't file for any of the permits that we can find. We're trying to get it approved. They are being investigated by 3 attorney generals from 3 different states. They've seized all their assets, and this is just the latest one. They all go through this. They start, they blow up, and then they all go out of business. There is no racket like the green racket.
Thank you, Writer Man.
Thank you, Ryder Man. We really appreciate that. So I'm telling anyone who's thinking about going solar, make sure they've been in business a long time, check their Better Business Bureau, make sure they're solvent, make sure they actually do what they say they're going to do. Because boy, do they overpromise. It was important for us to do it. No, we did not use Tesla. Tesla wasn't here. The Teslas don't come around door to door.
So are you still happy that we have a solar system, or do you think that we should have had a generator instead? Kind of ultimately with where, like, once the kinks get worked out, will you be happy that we have solar?
It depends on its efficacy. If it works like we hope, we got it because I love our animals, and the last thing I want to do is slaughter a cow and have it hanging in the freezer or aging in the fridge, losing power and losing one of our thousands of pounds of meat.
Right.
And you can get gas, but propane generators and all that stuff, but who knows about that? Who knows if it's, we've been looking at things where we were in the days for diesel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to have to rely on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the biggest downside for the generator, is needing an outside resource.
Yeah. So if it works out, great. If it doesn't, well, we'll see.
Pray that it does. The sun will keep shining.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will keep charging.
Yeah. But, the pigs, though, were doing good. I couldn't even find that one that was limping.
I haven't seen, only 2 of them kind of pop out now, so I haven't seen Gimpy.
When I was in there with all the kids, they were running around a million miles an hour.
Okay, good.
So that's 5. And you looking forward to Sunday? You get to take 3 manhoods, or Saturday, you get to take some manhoods.
Oh, of course, I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible.
Women love chopping off dogs.
This is a myth.
Dogs.
You have this myth in your mind that we love taking manhood.
They love it when vets do it.
Just like total garbage. I do sincerely wish, though, that we had done this week 1 for these little guys, because now it's week 4. They're a lot bigger. It's going to be a lot more traumatic. But it'll get done, has to get done, so that we don't risk wasting them like potentially bacon.
Yeah, and if we waste bacon, we won't waste him. He'll be dog food for the next year.
Lucky dogs.
Dogs will get drastic cuts in their grain diet.
Yeah.
And get
straight fat
and pork.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, Mr. Bacon will get moved this weekend away from the girls, because he's actually trying to be manly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mating
With
for the
Oink.
first time.
So he has to kind of have like a purge of his system from those.
And where do we get chicory to start feeding them chicory? Is
I
that
have
like,
no idea.
I didn't even know what they never even heard the word chicory before.
I've heard of it. I
That's
just don't know where to
feed
get it.
them. And raw potatoes is supposed to be the other thing.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully Mr. Bacon tastes okay.
I am looking forward to actually hopefully growing some more this year. I don't know if we'll get to it because I know we get a lot of stuff, but it would be great to finally stop blowing like $300 a week on vegetables that we could grow our own.
Yeah, I think that we need to just be
And the organic
realistic,
vegetables are ridiculous now.
realistic about what we need and what we can maintain. Because obviously the potato patch was just way too huge to.
I think if we started it and we maintained in the beginning, and I
We
think
just like, I mean, the equipment, like, it was just like a huge space. We didn't need that many. So
yeah,
if it's an area, and
I think we
the other
learn
biggest
better.
thing, which we're planning on fencing the chickens in, would be we would need raised beds or different fencing for the chickens to stay out of the garden area.
Yeah, well, we're gonna definitely be fencing them out of that. So, I want. It'd be great to grow tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great to grow peppers and onions.
Anyone else on here doing gardens for this summer?
The main thing is we got to plant grass where the pigs were, and I'm in the feed store asking when to plant grass, and they're like September. I'm like, if not September, when? October. If not when October, when? November. And I'm like, all right. Obviously, I missed that time. So when?
Anytime.
So we're gonna wait till the net go get some seed, wait for it to rain, and then throw a ton of seed out there.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, our neighbors' chickens don't eat it all, or else they won't be around very long.
Yeah.
But the morning Bible study, I think, has been going great.
Yeah, you've been doing great with that.
And Mark, it's just so amazing to see the difference between the writing styles of Mark and Matthew, what they focused on.
What do you take more away from? Do you prefer?
I get more out of Matthew, but because he was so detail oriented and stuff. But Mark focuses more on some other things that you have to ask some questions about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, particularly Catholics probably struggle a little bit with a lot of Mark's writings.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been very. The saturation knowledge of getting in your Bible daily and not rushing through it
Mm-hmm.
and chewing through chapter by
Yeah, because
chapter.
you're studying.
Instead of, I'm on a Bible reading plan, I'm going to blow through this.
That's my biggest issue because I'm on the Keep the Feast plan, and it's pretty intensive on like how many chapters you're supposed to get through.
It's like
and-
6-7 a day.
Yeah, and so and especially because I'm trying to catch up, so I'm trying to do more than one day at a time if possible.
Yeah.
And so I don't really give myself the time to read the notes. And, I'm like, I gotta get through this. So I do regret that part of being on a plan. I might bail on the plan. I mean, we'll see. It's nice to have like kind of goals, but it also, I don't retain as much because I'm
one
really
chapter a
trying
day
to
is not
accomplish.
enough, right?
Oh yeah, but this is like 7 or 8 sometimes.
Yeah, no.
which is a
But
lot.
I mean, right now we're doing one chapter a day, talking about it, teaching it through, but I'm also spending time listening to other sermons,
Yeah.
pursuing knowledge all the time.
I think it's enough for kind of a study like what you're doing, but it's not enough
Yeah.
for an individual. It shouldn't be enough for an individual
Right.
to say, I kind of had my time in the Word.
Well, typically what people do is they'll do a chapter, they'll do a proverb, and they'll do a psalm,
Okay.
right? There's a proverb for every day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every day of the month.
Yeah.
And then psalms, there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So So they just kind of go through that, and whatever day the date is, that's the proverb they go through.
Right.
And Proverbs is just wisdom.
Yes. I remember the first time that I read those, I was like, gosh, if people just followed this, we'd be in a whole different place.
Yeah, got that right.
Alas, we don't.
Yeah. So the main thing that this brought home to me was this disaster in Ohio and PA is you got to be ready to walk out the door at any time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Eastman blows up,
Yeah,
Eastman Chemical right down the road, well, 20 something miles.
close enough. Yeah.
If that goes, you know, just seeing that mushroom cloud, getting up and driving the opposite direction as fast as you can.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, and we're not mobile. I mean, as far as like, we leave the livestock behind and they would just kind of, I mean, you just know that they would be,
It would be, I'd have to get you somewhere safe and then I'd have to risk coming back.
well, and then it's deciding, is that worth it?
Right. You know, and it's like, how terrible is that?
Yeah.
Are you going to let your animals starve?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to decide how permanent of a departure you're making. Like a couple days.
Like
they
we don't
make
have
that.
a trailer to put all of our stuff in. We don't have a giant, you know, dually with a massive livestock trailer where
Oh,
we
yeah,
can fit
no,
all of our
but-
cows and our
Yeah.
pigs, and you know, the chickens would just be on their own.
Yeah. Either you cut them all loose or you kill them if you anticipate that they would not survive your being gone, or you try to shore them up as best as possible for a couple days. Water would be the biggest limiting thing.
So sad. My heart really goes out to those people. No fault of their own, minding their own business. Everything ruined
Mm-hmm.
by something that was completely preventable.
What? So I've seen, because people are like, why didn't they pump it out and things like that? And someone said that there was too much pressure to pump it out, blah, 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 something. So that
I'm sure it was
so like,
very complex with a lot of bad decisions, right? And I don't know, like I'm not that expert to sit there and say, okay, detonating it was the worst
yeah.
case scenario. It does seem to be the worst case scenario.
It does. I just don't know what to articulate about the alternatives without. It's easy to say that was so stupid, but you kind of
But
need to
is
have
it-
something to say as.
I
this would've been
wonder,
better.
here's what it's politically expedient because it's gone now, right? Whereas imagine if they put big bubble tents over it and sealed it off and kept everyone out of there, the media would be covering it every day.
Yeah.
Right. And then it'd be their problem and what happened and follow the paper trail and, you know, and everything else. So I wonder, you know, I'm sure there was a problem, a room where a bunch of people were in there like, well, if we burn it, worst
We
case
risk
scenario is it's
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
If we don't, it sits in the ground, it does this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and hopefully they didn't make a politically expedient decision.
Which,
Now, the experts that are on Tucker are saying this was like the worst thing they could do. They turned it into phosgene, which is basically what we used in World War.
yeah. So it's just like, what was the alternative? Is my question.
And but I just, you know, I hear our train way off in the distance here, and I'm like, man, what's going on that thing?
Yeah. I never thought about that kind of thing being like, I mean,
Well, I think
guess
they're
it
having a
makes
shelter in
sense, but-
place thing right now, or some hydrochloric acid or something that spilled in Arizona, or something like
There
that. I
are
saw.
at least two other hazardous material train crashes.
Well, this was
Like-
a truck
Okay.
that went over, and you could see this orange stuff coming out, and they have put people still on
Yeah.
shelter in
So
place.
yeah, I've seen that. Like, what are the odds of like 3 or 4 different hazardous material crashes?
Well, did you
in a
see
couple
today
weeks?
that they're thinking we shot our own weather balloons out of the sky in like 2 or 3 and 4.
Yeah. Was it all 2, 3, and 4?
I think so.
So the first one was legit, and then like they
Yeah.
overreacted on all the other ones?
Yeah.
Well, because they weren't fast enough to shoot down the first one, so they have to act like kind of like when they shot up that car of that guy
Yeah.
getting water in Afghanistan, or where was
Yeah.
that?
Right after the
Yeah.
Afghanistan
Must
withdrawal,
kill somebody.
they sent a drone and they killed a man and his family who was delivering water to people.
Yeah. Must look like we're doing something.
Our government is the most incompetent thing imaginable. With the least serious people running it now. It's a joke. It's a sad joke. Well, I wish this was more uplifting. Lauren is going to carry us home, and she's going to lift us all straight to heaven with a prayer right now.
Oh gosh. No pressure. Okay.
And thanks for being here. You know, glad I came. Glad I did the show. And I'm feeling better just hanging out with you guys. Even though a lot of you have never met you in person, you're just words on a screen. Knowing that there's like-minded people sitting here interacting, asking questions, and investing time with us makes a difference.
So Reitimer says, feels like the uncertainty and chaos of these events is more frequent. I've got to work on an extended quick exit planning. I get planning, then life happens.
Yeah, well, that's us, man. We're in the middle of our
financing also is.
Money is the problem, right? I mean, if you have all the money in the world, you can solve any problem. You know, as far as planning and contingencies go, it's doing it on a budget and not bankrupting yourself for a improbable future for most probable tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the quickest way to fail in prepping is to go bankrupt at everything.
Yeah.
So
that's easy to do.
It's real easy to do. We know
All
we've
right.
come close. Take us home.
Okay. Jeez. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you now with sad hearts, confused hearts, but hearts that remain humble and grateful for your presence, Lord. Lord, I thank you first for nudging Jason and myself to do the show tonight. As always, when we've had nights that we didn't want to come on air and decided, no, we cannot bail on our community. You show up, Lord, and you reinforce the decision to invest in others like that they invest in us. So thank you for nudging us in that. Lord, thank you for just watching over us. This is such an uncertain time, Lord, and we all have anxiety in our hearts, even though you tell us not to be anxious, and we repent for that. And please just take away the rest of that feeling, the uneasiness that we're all experiencing right now with what is going on in our world, and just show us that we can lean into you, trust you, Lord, and keep our eyes only on you, that you've got this no matter what happens today, tomorrow, next week, or in a year, that we're in your family, Lord, that we know where we ultimately are going. And that's what matters. So to not sin in our anxiousness and to definitely not turn our backs on you as we are fumbling around in what's going on in the world. Lord, I just ask that you, primarily, I lift up the people in East Palestine and everything that happened there over the last couple of weeks, anyone impacted by that disaster, whether acutely or in the years to come, Lord, I just lift them up to you, that you place your healing hand on them and mitigate any of the disaster that they're experiencing. As we move forward in our week, I just pray a blessing of peace and health and safety over everyone listening, that they lean into you with all of their troubles, and that they give you their most precious time every day to be reinforced in your word. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. You did great. Thank you. Thank you. I just joined. Thank
Hi, Christine.
You for being you and hanging in there. Thank you so much, Christine. We love you guys. I will see you tomorrow for Bible study. And we're in Matthew 3 and I think 3. And I'll
Mark,
see you.
Not Matthew.
I'm sorry, Mark 3. And I'll see you on the Hope Report we're going to be talking about what is biblical love tomorrow.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's going to be a tough topic because we're going to have to jump into the LGBTQ madness. We're going to have to jump
Well, you
into.
haven't really been afraid to blast that before, but this will be a whole.
I know, but this is
special.
a whole special on that. We're also going to be talking about tough love, which is exactly what the Bible is. Tough love, compassion with tough love.
Parenting.
Yes. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting this show by watching it. Please like, share, subscribe, donate to the church, however you feel like you feel led to. Appreciate you. Love you.
Good night.
Bye.